For the reveal of the Switch, Nintendo used some new footage of Breath of the Wild. Only 20 seconds or so were shown, but it's packed with things we didn't know about the game. So let's go through it! First of all, it's impossible to tell if this is real Switch footage. All footage was edited in, these people weren't actually playing these games. Nintendo only wanted to show the concept of the Switch, so perhaps they were still running the Wii U version. Or maybe, the Switch doesn't really improve the graphics by much. For now, don't draw any conclusions about the graphics on Switch. The trailer started out with Link doing an awesome horse maneuver. Maybe Link has been watching Lord of the Rings and he's a big fan of Legolas, because that's where we saw that move before. It looks great, but also very useful. Gone are the days of waiting for Epona to slow down, climbing up and then accelerating again. Just call your horse, jump on and off you go. Awesome. We also found out that Link can whistle to call his horse. You can hear the horse whinny, but you can also hear a whistle. Listen to it. You heard that? Even before E3 there was a leak of the user interface, UI, a leak that turned out to be real. But it showed a horse icon that was absent in the E3 build of the game. That made sense because you couldn't ride horse at E3. But people who were there said that pressing D down did make Link whistle. So at this point it's pretty safe to assume that down on the D-pad will call your horse. Next scene, riding into some mounted Copelands. If that looks familiar, you might be thinking of the reveal trailer for Twilight Princess. Is that a reference to that trailer? If so, that's pretty cool. If not, it's still pretty cool. By the way, I personally think that the Copelands look too big for these poor horses and they looked better on boars, but oh well, maybe they'll be introduced later on. Speaking of horses and other animals, there are a few you may not have noticed. First of all, here we see a nice black and white patterned horse. It actually looks a bit like Wolf Link, but it's not, it's too big. It's the same size as a horse. This is one of the candidate horses for me to catch. I love how it looks. Now in the previous scene you probably missed another animal. Here, to Link's right. It seems too small to be one of the deer that we saw earlier. Is it a rabbit? It's lovely to see how the world is so alive. The third animal you probably didn't notice brings us to the next scene. And no, I don't mean the huge Moblin, I mean this animal. It looks like a cow with huge horns. And it's just walking around there. So about the huge Moblin, Zeltic already pointed out that the necklace looks like it's Sheikah technology. There will probably be multiple ways to take this guy down, and maybe we'll even be able to climb this huge Moblin, hopefully. The area looks like it's the beach area that we saw in an earlier trailer, but we can't be sure. The Moblin, if it's a Moblin, seems to be sleeping in a huge skeleton. There's ribs sticking out of the ground. We have seen a huge skeleton before, and we've also seen caves in the shape of skulls, which may or may not be actual skulls. These are the remains of even bigger creatures than we've seen so far. Will we encounter such huge beasts or just their skeletons? We'll have to find out. Something that is a big deal for me, but nobody seems to mention, is that apparently you can completely turn off the UI, the user interface. Look at it, there's nothing on screen besides Link and the world. No hearts, no buttons, nothing. It's very clean, and I really like it. It looks great. I hope the game really gives us this option. And that brings me to the next point. This button on the left of the controller. There was one website that revealed pretty much everything we know about the Switch, including that it was going to be shown in a 3-minute trailer. But there are a few things that the website predicted and that Nintendo hasn't shown yet. Supposedly, this button is a share button that lets you share screenshots, but also videos online. If that's true, imagine all the pretty sunsets and cool actions that are going to be put on YouTube. What else can we learn from the Switch reveal trailer? Because you can only play on your TV when the Switch is in the dock, we cannot hold the map on a second screen. Actually, the E3 build of the game didn't show a map on the U-pad either. So, did they also remove the feature from the Wii U version? If so, that sucks. It would have been nice to have the feature at least in the Wii U version. The removable controllers called JoyCons are rumored to have motion control. Will Nintendo include the option to play with motion controls like in Skyward Sword? It will feel weird for the big and slow weapons, but it should be nice for the sword and shield combination. And of course, only for those who want it. Some people really liked the immersion of one-on-one motion controls, me included. And if you don't like it, just ignore it and play the game with the regular controls. By the way, did you notice that the Switch logo forms the N of Nintendo? Huh? This wasn't the only new footage Nintendo released in the past few days. First there was this video showing off the nice weather effects. On the right you can see what looks like the top of a ship mast, but which probably is the remains of a cart. That and the overgrown fences here and there give it a farmer's look. Could this have been Lon Lon Ranch? Then there was a Japanese video where they played on the Great Plateau again, but it had a few new details. You know this guy, the old man. He had already been seen woodcutting in the trailer and on top of Mount Hylia. But in this video he was also seen at the cooking place at night. And when day breaks, the man doesn't mysteriously disappear. No, you can actually see him run off. You can follow him. Where is he going? We don't know yet. Does he run to one of his other locations? Could this be like Majora's Mask, where NPCs seem to lead a real life with different schedules? It's unlikely to be as detailed as in Majora's Mask, but so far the only NPC we've seen looks to be more alive than those in most Zelda games. Then, as the last point, I wanted to share something I recently discovered in the E3 footage. Something I haven't seen anyone else mention, so I might be the first. This is the Great Plateau of Hyrule. It's higher than the other areas and it's surrounded by cliffs. Well, walls actually. But did you know that the wall has a gate? You can see it here. You can even see an old road leading up to it. The gate is marked by these two statues on top. The gate is closed and it looks like it has been closed for a long time. A small lake has formed on the plateau side. That really makes you wonder, will we be able to drain the lake and open the gate at one point in the game? And is that when we can use our horse on the Great Plateau? As you have noticed, the game is packed with interesting details. I can see myself playing this for over 200 hours, especially if there are enough quests and story elements in it. I'm super hyped for the game and I want to learn a bit more, but I'm also coming closer to the point where I want to avoid spoilers. I don't want to see all the bosses, the towns, the story. But for now, I am ready for a little bit more information. Let us know in the comments what you think. Did I miss something? And are you getting the Wii U or the Switch version? I'm Stefan and you've been listening to Zelda Pod Smashers.